It's The Local Show on News Radio 570 WSYR, a service of Safe Harbor Wills and Trusts and Geddes Federal Savings and Loan. The Local Show, featuring conversations with business owners, employees, and local business leaders about their successes, challenges, and reasons for doing business right here in Central New York. The Local Show is locally produced by Zoey Advertising. Now, your hosts, Tom and Steve.
Welcome back and welcome in. This is hour number 2 of The Local Show. Get ready for engaging interviews with Brian DuMond. He's the president of Geddes Federal Savings and Loan, and then Sean and Vanessa Dupree are the owners of Dupree's Cleaning Services. And then we'll be joined by Anthony Tringali, who's the owner of EatLocalNewYork.com. Which I guess we could eat our way right through.
It's a food day, Tom.
Yeah, it's a lot of food right there. We're broadcasting from the Zoey Advertising Studio, sponsored by Safe Harbor Wills and Trusts and Geddes Federal Savings and Loan. We're also on YouTube at Zoey Advertising. If you just put in Zoey Advertising 3809.
Yeah, even if you put Zoey Advertising,
well, you'll find it.
It's going to be there. And every week the numbers are growing. I don't know if I told you, Tom, we have more and more subscribers. It's kind of fun.
It's wonderful.
Somebody wants to see me. I mean, you. I mean, us. Sure. Or Brian. I don't know.
Well, it's great to have Brian back. Brian DuMond is the president of Geddes Federal Savings and Loan. How are you, young man?
I'm doing well. How about you guys?
Good. I like to call him young man because we're the same age.
I was looking around.
So if he's young, that means I'm young.
That works for me.
And I'm 2 years older than both of you. Okay, that's fine.
That's right. And you look it.
I do. I know.
They talk about the biological age and then the real age, that kind of stuff. I'm putting Steve at about a, 80-year-old.
Oh, come on. But seriously, this happened this last week. I was visiting someone in the hospital, and I kind of got lost getting out because the signage up at me was kind of backwards. And I'm there, and I asked the lady, I said, how do you get it? She goes, oh, honey, let me show you. I'm like, she's treating me like an old man.
Right.
She called me honey. She's like, oh, let me show you. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't know.
Did she refer to you as those people? Oh, I feel bad for those people.
She was like, he must be here visiting his wife, and who knows what. But it was, yeah. So yeah, it's okay. I'm a little older.
That's
you just smile and you move forward.
Amen.
Very typical for Steve. Hey, Brian, something I've never asked you about that I put on as the first question was, can you speak to the history of Geddes Federal Savings and Loan and how it's evolved since its founding?
Yes.
I don't know how far back you can go.
Well, I only go back a little over 10 years, but Geddes Federal has been around for 74 years. And it's grown quite a bit since in that 74 years. Initially, we weren't allowed to have checking accounts.
No kidding.
Just by the way the charter was. And so we started out with CDs and residential mortgage loans. And we have stayed fairly true to that mission since then. Of course, we've added checking accounts, savings accounts, money market accounts, in addition to CDs and IRAs. So we've done all that, but on the residential lending side, we're pretty much the same. Residential mortgages, home equity loans, home equity lines of credit. So the more things change, the more they stay the same. Right. But a big part of what our founding members wanted to do was make sure they were there for the community. Mm-hmm. And that's a real big part of our focus as well. So most of our officers are on boards, not-for-profit boards of different kinds, and volunteering time to the community. And we donate quite a bit to not-for-profit organizations as well.
Right. I was with someone this past week, Tom, and Geddes came up, and he was talking about his mom and her savings and things. And he said, some people have been telling her that she should put it all in one place somewhere else, and she's with Geddes. Mm-hmm. And he said, I asked why. He says, I don't know. They say that. And then she talked to the brand of Geddes. She goes, I like them. I'm there. The rates are good, and I feel. I think the quote was, I feel safe. And I thought that just reflected the whole conversation. And she said, you know what? I'm not. I'm going to stay there. And she didn't want to okay, the point goes up. It goes up by a decimal or down a decimal in a day or whatever. But she felt really safe with Geddes.
Well, I think we go a long way to make people feel safe.
Right.
So they understand how they're invested, so they understand their loan. And that's a big part of this, because let's face it, everybody isn't a banker or an accountant,
Right.
Or in finance. So if you
Thank
can
goodness.
understand,
I'm sorry.
but it's true. So if you can understand your mortgage, or understand a home equity loan, or how it's different than a home equity line of credit, or you can understand the advantages of a CD or a money market, it's really that's key. And I think we, because of the way that we're set up and who we are, we make sure that people understand.
Yeah. What are some of the more popular products or services that Geddes Federal has, and why do you think they're so popular?
Well, it comes down to rates. And I think that's the first thing, is people want to make sure that they are getting a competitive rate. And over time, Geddes Federal has demonstrated that whether you're looking at a mortgage or a savings product, our rates are competitive. And that's a big deal, because that lets you relax. You don't have to go out shopping every day and looking, saying, oh, can I get a better rate here? There's going to be times that we're a better rate, and there's going to be times when somebody else is a better rate.
Yeah.
But when you look at it as a whole over time, our rates are right there with the best, and that is a sense of relief. Now, as far as our products go, I would say on the savings side, our two lead products are certificates of deposit and IRAs. I put those together, as well as the money market. And
Hot right now, I imagine.
CDs right now are where it's at, because people are looking and they're saying, finally, we can get a rate of return on our money.
Yeah.
And money markets are popular because people are saying, I think rates are still going to go up, and do I really want to lock my money in? So let me park it here for a month or two and kind of gauge what's happening. So that's why on the savings side, those two products are the best, or the hottest, I should say.
Right.
On the mortgage side, everybody is looking to go long. So 30 years, 25 years, 20 years. It's what they're taking a look at, saying, while rates aren't at historical lows, they're still pretty darn good. If you can get a long-term mortgage for 5.5.
Yeah, my first house was 11.
Right. So if you can do that, the way CD rates are going up, that's not a bad deal. So people are looking at your 30-year, your 25-year, your 20-year on the mortgage side.
And they can still pre-qualify. And has anything changed about the process over there? Because the spring market's coming, right?
Well, they can pre-qualify online, or they can come in and pre-qualify. But pre-qualifications right now are the thing. People are going nuts for them because they're getting ready, as you said, Steve. It's happening. But the other thing that's really hot now, and still hot, it's been hot for a couple of months, is the home equity products. So home equity loans, home equity lines of credit, because there is still a shortage of houses in the market.
Yeah.
Right.
And so when taking a look at that, people are saying, well, if we can't find the home of our dreams now, let's invest in our home and make it the home of our dreams.
Right, sure.
And so that's still really, really hot.
Yeah. You had a little bit of, I don't know, we call it a mortgage hack, if you will. There was some...
saying hack and banking the same thing is not good.
Use the better word. Use the word scam, Tom.
Yeah, right.
What are you trying to say?
It wasn't that. It was just the way you were talking about to kind of beat the market with the inflation and the raising rates. Something...
Yeah, like one-time rollover or something, you could change something.
It was like an adjustable,
the adjustable mortgages. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Those are great, and especially in an environment like this, because essentially, let's say a 10-1 ARM, you can lock in that rate for 10 years. And if you're going to be in your house for less than 10 years, you're going to pay lower interest rate, and then when you sell it, you're all set.
See, that's kind of cool advice. Like, I would never think of an ARM in good times when when you could get a 3% mortgage.
Last thing I know is our friend Brad right here He went and got it at Geddes.
Right.
He looked, and he's familiar with everybody, and he speaks volumes about the relationship and the way it happened. And he's a younger guy, and he was thrilled and got a great rate.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Brian. You have a great rest of the day, and we'll send people your way.
Well, I appreciate that, and thank you, everybody.
Excellent. Next up, we're going to talk with Sean and Vanessa Dupree. They're the owners of Dupree's Cleaning Services right here on the local show on 570 WSYR.